Triforce Podcast, go.
Okay, well, listen, we were just having a pre-podcast chat about how myself and Lewis both forgot Flax's birthday.
After specifically
Flax
saying that we would remember,
and said, we're just a bunch of guys. I've never done anything for your guys' birthday. Don't worry about it. And then I had the idea just before we started rolling to say, let's make that change. Let's make that change, because my birthday is coming up next.
Oh, I see.
Right,
I see.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
it is now.
Yeah. So let's make the change, and then if it doesn't stick, well, we tried at least for my birthday.
Gonna make a change
Yeah.
for once
When's
in
your
my
birthday?
life.
My birthday is on the 5th of June.
Okay, 5th of June. I'll put a Google Calendar reminder on.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
do you know what, Lewis? I've actually had a couple of bits and pieces from you over the years on my actual birthday. So you sent me like a Fallout thing one time, and another time you sent me like a bunch of like sweets and chocolates that my kids all ate and stuff. Like you've actually have sent me stuff on my birthday in the past. Not every year, I should
Not
say.
consistently,
but
just very much when I knew about
sporadically
it.
throughout all the time
it's
I've
one
known
of those
you.
things, isn't it, that you have to do with family as well, and family
Yeah.
sometimes do with me, is they'll let me know of the upcoming event in a subtle way and put sow those seeds. You know, it's like if you want a present, you know, you can point out, oh, I really like that bracelet there. And I think that's lovely, that
I
bracelet.
don't know about you guys. Like, I don't really give much of a shit about my birthday, though. I don't even really care if anybody remembers it or not, either. Like, it's just it's not a huge thing for me.
It's
Some
not a
people,
huge
it's really
thing,
important
but-
to them, but for me, it's not really.
Some people, I have a birthday week
Yeah,
where they don't shut the fuck up about it and get very angry if you don't do things. And also, they do this thing where they're like, "But it's my birthday week."
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? It's like, that doesn't mean that I have to like be your slave for this next whole week.
No, that's
You know what I mean?
true.
Like,
Yeah.
give me a break. Come on, like, I'll take the bins out. Fine. Fine.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, what a treat!
Shit.
So your birthday was yesterday, P-Flex. What did you get up to?
I
you do
did.
anything special?
I played XCOM Long War of the Chosen for 12 hours.
Oh, very, well, that is actually
That's
quite
a great
special, I
way to
suppose.
spend your birthday, honestly.
Oh, is it? It's
Yeah.
getting your dick slammed in a giant book over and over again is what it feels like. It's like reading in the nude, and there's a risk element, but you're kind of enjoying it. But you're
I just
using
had a horrible thought. Oh God.
what reading?
Yeah, reading in the nude and then getting a
general.
small paper cut on your
Well,
wangus.
Imagine
Oof.
using your wangus as a bookmark, and
Oh.
then you slam the book shut. That's what XCOM Long War
This
of the
is going
Chosen
right
feels
through
like.
me. Jesus.
I'm sorry, but books and things happening to your Johnson. It's two of the very greatest fears of SIPs.
Yeah, I don't
So
want
I
anything
apologize for
happening
bringing
to
that
my,
up.
want anything going near my Johnson.
That was
Well,
the.
it's also aliens, you know.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Where'd this come from? Aliens?
You're killing aliens in XCOM,
Oh,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't
yeah.
that the point of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I forgot what we were talking about. I just.
They're
You-
always scary.
You
Yeah.
lose sight of the overall objective of the game, though.
We're old.
Whilst
We
dealing
could
with all
hold
the
about-
squad drama and stuff, right?
15 seconds of remembrance.
You could
It's just-
almost convince yourself that the whole game is about like the love triangle that's formed between your three best snipers who are all on different teams and stuff
Right.
like that, and forget
Yeah.
all about the aliens that need to be purged from the
Well,
Earth.
I tell you what, it's I've put pretty much everyone in the Yogscast in it, and a bunch of people I know and like viewers and stuff like that, and me
Yeah.
and Mrs. F. And we lost Mousy yesterday. She died a hero. But,
Rip in
she
peace.
did die,
Yeah,
but
bye,
it is.
Mousy.
You're still going. I don't think
Nice.
Lewis made the cut this time around. I've got like a huge character pool, and it just randomly selects people from that, and then I rename people every. If there's someone
Yeah.
who doesn't have a character. But Long
Yeah.
War of the Chosen is incredibly hard.
Wow.
And I've been struggling. I'm on my 5th restart.
Well, what
I
a
don't-
coincidence. So am I. So,
Really?
Oh, yeah. Man, I am so horny today. I don't know why. I just.
Oh, you're on your 5th restart means something different for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means cup of coffee for some people. I'll get crazy without my coffee.
Oh man.
Mondays.
Oh, my God.
Man. Well, listen. I got some good news, or maybe it's some bad news. I don't know how you guys are going to take this, but season 10 of Married at First Sight Australia has started airing on E4, and I've been watching
Right.
it. And
Right. The nenext few minutes, I am listening. Just you go
no,
ahead.
I'm not going to go into it. I'm just making you aware of where I'm at. I'm in a like a fairly decent spot at the moment. Okay, listen to this. I'm binging on 2 games that I'm both enjoying very much. One in my spare time and one on stream. I'm watching Married at First Sight Australia. When on gaps when that's not on of an evening, I got some Ted Lasso to catch up on. And if I don't have any Ted Lasso to catch up on, I'm going to start watching Race Across the World. The the one that's on I think it's like BBC 1 or 2.
You got interesting.
This one it takes place in Canada, so it'll be really interesting to watch. So I got some of that to catch up on as well, and then the new season of Succession just the new and final season of Succession just started airing as well. So I have that to catch up on too. So I'm kind of sorted for like a couple of months at least, I think, like in terms of having everything arrayed in my favor. Yeah.
Well, this is. I was going to say, how do you feel about like EastEnders, right, and like soaps in general, right?
I don't mind them. My wife watches. My wife used to watch a lot of the soaps, but now that we have so many kids, she barely even watches EastEnders. But she still tries to keep up with EastEnders. She still watches it. If it's on, I watch it. I don't mind it.
How much is there of it? It's like. Is it 5 episodes a week?
Yeah,
I've lost track. I don't know.
And then the omnibus at the weekend when
it used to be that there was 3 a week, and then it went to 4, and then during COVID
they
cut
omnibus
down
for about
and
10
stuff.
years, Flax. But
what?
I'm not sure if they do the omnibus anymore. Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, they did. They stopped it.
You don't need it because you got catch up and stuff like that. How many episodes? I'll give you to the nearest 100. How many episodes of EastEnders have there been?
Oh, there's been thousands. Thousands and thousands and thousands.
Give me a number.
I mean, it's been running since the 80s.
1985.
And it's been aired 3-4 times a week, sometimes even more, depending on what's happening. I mean, I'm not a mathematician.
So like 200 a year, maybe?
Just
200
guess
a year
how many episodes you think
20 years? 4,000?
6,672.
It's a lot of episodes, EastEnders.
6,000. There's a lot of episodes. Well, I mean, it's almost like
how many times do you think the sentence "get out of my pub" has been uttered in those 6,000 ish episodes?
Well, I haven't really sat down and watched it. Do you know what I mean? I've like many things that I'm not really that familiar with. I've just got my knowledge through osmosis and being alive.
You know who Pat Butcher was, though, right?
It's the same thing with the World Cup
Peggy
or
Mitchell.
Pokemon or whatever, right? I've not really finished a Pokemon game, but I know a lot of Pokemon. Yeah, you just have to. It happens. I've heard of Pat Butcher. Yeah. And,
I want to know how many times the words Janine have been said on EastEnders.
She's back, eh? She's been back. She's been back for a good long while now. She was in it.
I guess
she was in it. I think the height of her notoriety maybe is now. I don't know with the stuff going on now. But she killed Barry. You remember that? Remember she pushed Barry down a hill or a cliff? Yeah, she married.
No, I don't.
She married Barry Butcher.
Yeah.
And then pushed him off a cliff.
Good God.
Yeah.
I've always been like very kind of impressed with the ability to turn around stuff real quick, right? Like the newspapers, right? How they would basically come in the morning, write all the articles, get everything together, send it to the guys who would then have to redo the whole thing with typeface. You'd have to set the whole. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day when newspapers were done with, they'd have to get the metal plates, and every letter would have to be a metal little. So they'd have to basically a guy would have to type the whole thing out, then another guy would have to copy it into metal. And then make a print of that and then do it overnight and then rush it out for the next morning. It was like, I mean, it's different. I'm sure it's a bit different now, but it's still similar in the sense that you've got a day to make the newspaper, right? And you've got a day effectively to make an episode of EastEnders, right? That doesn't feel like a long time. How far ahead are they on their episodes?
They're pretty far ahead. I think they're like probably a couple months ahead, honestly.
Do you think they're like us when it comes to pre-recording stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like, oh, we better get some in the can.
Actually,
I reckon they're 2 weeks ahead at all times.
They must be. Yeah. I said months, but I'm not sure if it is months because I know there's times where in the past, I mean, I don't
They've done
watch
it
the show.
live in the
Yeah, they
past, I
have done it
remember.
live. That's what I was
Yeah.
just going to say. I don't watch it often, but there has been a handful of times where they've had live episodes, which are kind of interesting to watch because the actors
This gives me
are
like
pretty
real
good.
anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're running out of episodes. You're like, fuck, we have to do this one live.
Yeah,
'Cause we
no,
haven't
I
got
think
one
it's
for
just
tonight.
like I think it's just
Say,
one of
oh.
those fun little gimmicky things that they do every once in a while, and it's normally around somebody meeting their
yeah.
end, you know, like somebody
Yeah.
dies or whatever.
I mean, if you watch like the old Steptoe and Sons, they were live, and the old fella would fuck up his lines and make mistakes quite often. But because a lot of the people that were on telly early on were like stage actors first.
Yeah,
But then, you know, if you were just a TV actor, you weren't used to having to do things live. I mean, most people that act on TV these days probably didn't start out on the stage having to just know the lines and the timings and the blocking and all the rest of it. For the whole thing, you know, you can do your scene and then go away and check out on your lines and then go, you know, if you fuck up, you just do it again. So
Well, I guess there's no time for Stanley Kubrick to film something 50 times either, right? They got,
But he was
they
a
do it, and then
genius,
that's it.
Lewis. He was a genius.
There's also no time to deal with like these actors who are like all dramatic or divas, you know, or like don't turn up or, you know, on holiday or, do you know what I mean? Like they've got to like, their schedule must be so like tight to actually get this thing out and get it edited and ready and in a decent quality. But I guess at some point they must be like, fuck it. We're just gonna have to use what we've got. Right? Like this is bad, but who cares, you know? And also, like in a sense, like the relentless pace of it means that there's no chance really to have good story, right? In a sense, it just has to be it's kind of unchecked, freeform, averageness, right?
But I think the shows that Sips was talking about watching have replaced soaps for a lot of people. I think a lot of young people,
probably,
the drama comes from it's the same. But with real people.
Well, it is the same, isn't it? Because I guess that's the reality TV shows are. I mean, EastEnders is supposed to replicate the working class, you know, life of these people as they just every day doing their stuff, right? Whereas I guess the reality TV shows are usually more exaggerated because they cast weirdos. But I think like. Maybe not always though. Not always.
Not always, but there's definitely a thing, and I know people have mentioned this, you know. Quite a bit about reality shows, but the longer they're around, the more susceptible they are to being gamed by people, right? Because people have watched them, they know the format, and then they think up these ways of, you know, becoming these dramatic elements to them or inserting themselves into drama or whatever. I feel like with a lot of reality shows, and I don't actually watch that many, but like getting in on the ground floor with them is the best time, right? The first handful of seasons are probably the better ones because the people that are on them are just, you know, they're really fresh. They don't really know what to expect. They don't know what to do or whatever. But then when you get to like season 10 or whatever of a series, people know exactly how it's going to go. They don't really change the format that much. You know what I mean? Like there's more of a I'm gaming the game element to some of the people that appear on the show, which is less interesting to watch for sure. Because especially nowadays, people are very aware of, you know, their Instagram fame
they know
and all
it's
this stuff. Yes, exactly.
But do you suppose, from a writing point of view, having a reality TV show is like a soap opera without having to do any writing? You just have to cast it right.
It
and
is,
the drama spills out. You just have a framework, and then everybody will fucking do stupid shit. You can just claim you're a genius.
It is, yeah. But I feel like if I was running a reality show, I would have sleepless nights. I would have so much anxiety because you're always so close to potentially having to call the cops like on some of these shows because some of the people that are on them are really wild. Like they're unstable, they need therapy, all sorts of stuff. And then you're putting them into these situations with other people and you don't know how it's going to go, you know, like you really don't. And I feel like anybody who's producing one of those shows is just on the edge of their seat all the time, like ready to hit the panic button, you know, like, because especially once like things start kicking off and these people just start having their meltdowns and stuff like that, you don't know where it's going to go, you know, like it's I don't know. I would hate to do that. Like it'd be too much. It'd be too nerve-wracking for me.
I've written a poem if you'd like a change of pace.
Sure.
Oh. By all means.
What, did you just write it now?
I wrote it this morning.
Oh, okay. Not like while we were having this
I tidied
in the
up
past
a
20 minutes.
couple of bits.
Oh,
I tidied up a couple of bits.
All right.
Okay.
Is this like that guy that was it Andrew Tate? Is this like his jail poem?
No.
Okay.
No. This is called That Shiny Dome.
Oh,
Is this-
okay.
It's a
Okay.
poem
Is
about
this-
boldness.
Okay. Sure. I'm ready.
That shiny dome would once have seen a thriving community of keratin, but like the bed of some dead ocean, whose forgotten waters have retreated, it is now barren. Was that body deep and fresh, or salty and shallow? Did aquatic beings toil and suffer in their life's folly? If so, how many and what kind? The questions you may have regarding hair that is no longer there are just as pointless. That's it.
This is
Wait.
amazing. Well done. I love it.
There you go.
Woo!
I'm snapping my fingers,
Thank
clapping.
Oh
you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was beautiful.
Man,
I
that
loved
was
it.
that was pretty good, Flax.
That was really good. Yeah.
That was
At first, I thought it was going
Impressive.
to be one of these AI ChatGPT poems. 'cause
No,
I've
it
seen a
feels
lot of
like it,
those
but
things.
it's not.
But no, it really was. It felt more real, more pure,
It's Flax
more-
GPT.
more human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I saw
Well,
on the topic of this GPT thing. I don't really know an awful lot about it because I don't really pay too much attention. But I did notice that a bunch of big tech people are now calling for there to be like a halt in development because they're worried that the AI is going to be too out of control or something.
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
is that something worth worrying about or not really?
Well, let me run something by you, and we'll see if you're worried. So just consider this. Somebody posted on the Triforce Podcast subreddit, they got a ChatGPT to generate a Triforce episode.
Right.
I'm going to post this verbatim I'll post a screenshot of it into the Discord,
Yeah.
and we each read our parts
Okay.
and see if
Okay.
people notice.
Okay.
If this sounds wildly unlike us. All right, so I'll start. You guys see that?
okay, I got it.
So what's the deal with the Triforce anyway?
It's a magical relic that grants wishes, right?
Yeah, but it's split into 3 parts, and each one represents a different virtue: power, wisdom, and courage.
Which one would you want if you could have one?
Power, obviously.
Oh, no, wisdom for sure.
Well, courage for me then, I guess.
Well, what's the point of courage if you can't beat anyone up?
It's not about fighting; it's about standing up for what's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I stood up to that guy who cut in line at the grocery store.
Did you punch him in the face?
No, I just told him to get to the back of the line like everyone else.
That takes real courage, Perion.
I still want power.
You'd probably use it to make yourself rich or something.
You're damn right I would.
I don't think Triforce works like that.
Yeah, it's more about fulfilling your destiny or something.
What if my destiny is to be the richest man in the world?
No, I don't think that's how it works either.
I think you have to earn the Triforce through your actions and deeds.
So if I rob a bank, I could get the Triforce of power?
I guess that's not the kind of action or deed they mean, Sips.
Yeah, it's more about like doing good things and helping people.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, there you go. It really does
It's
capture the essence
It
of this
does, but
podcast.
it's too like.
So that was it. We've stopped now. We stopped reading the ChatGPT version.
It captures the essence of the of the podcast, but there are things that I don't think the AI would ever be able to do, such as talking over someone else when they're in the
Yep.
middle of talking.
but
We
And
can try
also,
and do a bit of that.
But
though,
it's
to
not.
add
It's not working with Discord lag.
no,
and
true, but
That's one thing.
yeah,
But look, there's a second one here in the chat, and I posted this, and this is a different one to the one I thought you
I
meant.
saw that one. Yeah, it's very
Um,
boring sounding. It's
different.
extremely long
It's-
and boring.
It's different. It's different sounding.
All right. Do you
um,
see this one?
I think we
Sips?
should do this as well.
You see this one?
this
Sips?
one's too long.
You start it.
Okay,
Just do it. You intro.
Hello and welcome to the Triforce Podcast. I'm Sips and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts Lewis and Period.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Not too bad, thanks. How are you guys doing?
I'm pretty well, thanks. So, what's been going on in your lives this week?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Valheim recently. Such an addictive game. Trying to build a giant fortress, but it's taking forever.
Yeah, I've been playing that too. It's a great game, but I keep getting killed by trolls.
I haven't had a chance to play Valheim yet. I've been too busy with work. Speaking of work, have you guys seen the latest episode of WandaVision?
Oh, yeah, I watched it last night. Oh, it was insane.
I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers, please.
I won't say anything, but you need to watch it as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. So, what are we going to talk about on this week's podcast?
Well, I thought we could discuss the best and worst jobs we've ever had.
That's a great idea. I've had some pretty terrible jobs in the past.
Yeah, same here. I've had some real stinkers.
Okay, let's start with the worst. Sips, what's the worst job you've ever had?
Oh man, it's hard to pick just one. I think the worst was probably when I worked at a fast food restaurant. It was so busy and stressful all the time, and I got paid next to nothing.
I can relate to that. I worked at a McDonald's for a while, and it was terrible.
Yeah, fast food jobs are the worst. What about you, Lewis? What's the worst job you've ever had?
Well, I worked as a telemarketer for a few months, actually. It was soul crushing. I had to make hundreds of cold calls every day, and most people, they just hung up on me.
That sounds
Sucks.
horrible.
Yeah, I've had a few
hated it.
jobs like that. It's the worst when you know you're annoying people all day.
All right, what about the
Right.
best jobs you've ever
Like-
had?
Like this. Like this podcast. Sorry, that's a tough one. The best job for me, I think, was when I worked at a comic book store. It was so much fun just chatting to people about all the latest comics and graphic novels.
That sounds
Sam
like
loved
a
it.
dream job. For me, it was when I worked as a video game tester. I got paid to play video games all day.
That's awesome! I've always wanted to do that. For me, the best job I ever had was probably when I worked as a barista. I loved making coffee and talking to all the regulars.
Yeah, being a barista is a
Interesting.
great job. I've always enjoyed making coffee too.
All right. Well, I think that's enough job talk for now. Let's move on to some listener questions. Cue
Music fades in.
listener music.
Our first question comes from Alex, who asks, "What's your favorite type of sandwich?"
Oh, that's easy. I love a good bacon and egg sandwich.
Me too. Bacon and egg.
The end.
The two vegetarians.
Yeah, no research done there.
This
but-
is less accurate than, but do you reckon this pulls stuff from other people's podcasts? Because it does feel very inane.
It is inane.
Oh,
wow.
I mean,
All right, hold
it does,
on.
No, but it's
Very generic. It's
strikingly
kind of
generic.
like what I
yeah.
think a normal person would say in a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's not that different to what the kind of shit we say, to be honest.
I was going to point out, our podcast is very inane.
No,
If you
Um,
replace the word Valheim with the actual game I've been playing, if you replace the word WandaVision with the thing Sips has actually been watching,
Right.
it's basically kind of there. Do you know what I mean?
So there's one problem with it. If you look, it always goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we each take turns, like
Yes.
Sips, Lewis, period.
the first
Sips,
one was
Lewis,
like that
period.
too. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, there's
there was
no
a
conversation.
pattern, a formula to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
what
just goes
typically
1, 2,
does
3, 1, 2,
tend
3,
to
1, 2, 3,
happen
1, 2,
is
3.
we fall into two of us chatting about something, and while one of us is silent, ignoring the others.
I mean, you can't have three people all talking.
It doesn't include the level of disrespect that we have as a low level in this podcast.
No,
for
there's
each other.
and I think elements of the humor are missing from these as well, because there are some humorous bits, right? Like for example, you wouldn't really you wouldn't have like a good spot for example, Pyrian doing an accent or an impression or something, right? Like in any of this, where that's something that you would just do on the fly whenever, right? Like we would say something and then you might do like a silly accent or something like that.
I think this is like, first of all, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Second of all, I feel like a lot of these AI generated scripts are already better than EastEnders. Right? Thirdly, like I feel like these things are just all, they're like, I've forgotten. I'm losing my brain.
There was a lot of reach in there going on. It's like
I can
it's
hear
kind
it.
of.
I can hear
it's
the
like-
gears.
That's funny,
Oh fuck!
man. We're all getting older.
I had a
chaps.
third point.
Oh,
Oh.
it's true. We are. Man,
I
there's no
have
denying
not
it.
yet got to the point where I go somewhere and I forget what I've gone there for. Like I'm not there yet. But I do definitely forget things. Like
You forget to
Mrs.
get
Ethel
things
telling me
while you're
stuff.
there.
Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
And I have to write shit down. But I had to do that when I was a kid as well, so I think I just have a shit mind. A bad brain, I think, is what I'm afflicted with, in all honesty.
I had a comment, but I forgot. It'll come back to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, regarding like these tech billionaires, it doesn't feel like it's going to take over the world yet. But I see what they're saying, though, right? Because it's almost indistinguishable from a real script or a really badly written script. And there's a lot, most of the stuff that's out there is badly written, right? So I think in a sense, they have to either, it's going to get to the point where they're going to have to start dumbing themselves down to be passing as human, right? And kind of, it'll be, oh, this is too well written. It must be written by an AI. That's going to start happening.
You reckon?
You know?
I know that I did see an article saying, because one of the dead giveaways of AI image generation has been that they can't do hands, right? And there's weird things in the background of the pictures that no person would put there, and deformities in the background that don't make sense.
I mean,
those
are the minor artifacts, aren't they, that are left over?
But they're already starting to get better at those. So it genuinely won't be long before it can just...
No, it's frightening, really is.
The
like
deep fakes of, you can have a picture of anyone doing whatever you want and say that they did it and say, well, here's the evidence. So we have spoken about this before. You have to throw out video and photo evidence of pretty much anything.
Which is
awful.
It's regurgitating a lot, right? But I think that again will change and be kind of to the point, because there's so much now being posted all the time by so many people. It's just posted an AI generated video of Will Smith.
The most recent AI generated thing that I saw, which was
Will Smith eating spaghetti. Let's have a look at this. Okay. God, that is disturbing.
It is disturbing, isn't it?
So this is, I guess, what this is it's starting to get into animation and AI generate video. I mean, that's the next thing, right? There's tons of Twitter profiles that post like weird AI stuff. There's like, I saw one yesterday was like a concrete eating contest. Do you know what I mean? And it was exactly as you would imagine. A bunch of guys, chowing down on big blocks of concrete, kind of very it is immensely creative and interesting to see what it generates, right?
What is it going to mean for the law?
I feel like the idea for this has been around for a long time, though, because a lot of these AI generated clips just remind me of those the next generation edits. Remember the TNG edits?
yeah.
From like they were 15 funny. Years ago or whatever.
They were so good.
YouTube.
I think they were like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Really.
They're really old.
They were from SA,
this,
right?
Yeah, but this shit is all the same as that, basically.
I've been watching the Gwyneth Paltrow trial, which has been live on YouTube. It's quite interesting to see like a real courtroom and the trial and all the rest of it. It's quite funny. And sometimes the lawyers
she's countersuing for $1 and legal fees, right?
Yeah, because I mean, this it's a really weird story. I'm not going to speculate about this
it's
guy
a skiing
like,
accident or something, right?
Yeah. So the argument is when you're skiing, if you're further down the slope than me, I have to watch out for you.
Right.
Which makes sense because essentially you could be a beginner.
It's the same rules with cars.
Same rule with cars.
If you crash into the back of someone else, that's your fault.
Right.
Not their fault.
Exactly. If you are rear-ended, it's almost always the person that rear-ended's your fault. The only reason it could not be is if you unreasonably, because that's why all the scammers reverse into you at the lights. Like, that's why I got a dash cam, a bunch of other people got a dash cam, because you'll be at the lights and they'll reverse into you and then get out and go, oh, what have you done? Oh.
Yeah.
And they know that when they go to the insurance company will always back the person who was rear-ended.
Right.
So if you have the dash cam, it shows them reversing into you, job done. And people throwing themselves in front of cars and claiming personal injury and all the rest of it. So anyway, on a ski slope, if I'm further down than you, you might be a beginner. You can't see me coming behind you. You have to give way and give people a wide berth. So the argument is who hit into who. He's claiming that she slammed into him. She's claiming the reverse. And they got this guy for Paltrow's team who came on and basically did this recreation using formula and physics and talking about torque and inertia and center of mass and all that, and was writing formulas on this piece of card to show the jury and prove that the guy's story didn't add up, whereas hers did, and all the rest of it. It was really interesting. But the lawyers for the guy, I think his name is Sanderson. I think it's Sanderson. The lawyers for him are not as good and slick as the ones that Paltrow has. Her lawyer's like this well-presented young guy, and he's very good. And the other guy's lawyer is like kind of flustered and asks these kind of bad questions from time to time.
It's interesting and it's realistic, but the amazing thing about this is that the whole thing is AI generated, right? Like the whole trial and everything.
So he had a little animation to show what probably happened, Paltrow's guy, and it's like this really badly done, but it's like a little computer animation. But I'm thinking, imagine if there was CCTV footage of that. Couldn't you just say, well, we have alternative CCTV footage, and here it is, and which one is real? Yeah. Or you could just say, this is fake. This is not real, and then the new level of expertise will be deepfake experts who apparently can spot a deepfake. So where do we go? How can you trust video? How could you trust a news where it's a video of something happening or a photo of something? And not just say, well, that could easily be fake. I mean, it's already possible to manipulate photos and video with clever editing. But now imagine if you could generate whatever you wanted. And also from a privacy perspective, a lot of people are worried about deepfakes of them in pornography, which would be a big industry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an absolutely frightening future with AI. And, in some ways it's good. Really, really good because it greatly enables people who are like, I don't know, like AI audio stuff will allow more content for people who are blind, or like there's loads of ways that it can help and enable make more things productive, right? Save you a lot of time. It can help create content with people rather than. But yeah, like the billionaires are worried that it's gonna. I don't know why the billionaires are worried about this. They're worried about everyone's gonna lose their jobs to AI. It's like all of a sudden they're worried about it. It's kind of, I don't know. It's very odd.
That's
very odd situation. Yeah. I think this Gwyneth Paltrow story is fascinating because I don't know if you guys have ever been skiing, but there's people crash into each other all the fucking time,
right,
on the ski slopes, right? And obviously, a lot of those do cause injury. And I've done it. I've crashed into people when I was out of control, or not on purpose, obviously, or where people have crashed into me when they're out of control. It continually happens. And there's a lot. It's like when you're driving. There's a lot of people driving normally. Right. But there's always that one fucker who zooms past at 150 miles an hour, and you're like, that guy's driving like a fucking cunt. And it happens every time you drive. And it happens all the time on a ski slope as well. There's always some lunatic skiing dangerously.
Why is that? Why do people feel the need to do that in a public place where they could potentially hurt other people?
It's their holiday, isn't it? It's their holiday, and they're going to do what they want.
I think they are in their own world, though. Like, there's this disconnect between, and I'm sure some of these people do it safely and stuff, but there's definitely this disconnect between what they're doing and reality. They don't, when you're in a car, you're in this metal box. It feels like you're playing a video game, or you're disconnected. We as humans have this ability to disconnect from the world around us. Whether that's through getting sucked into working on something, or sucked into a TV show or a book. Like, a lot of people just don't think about what they're doing, and until something bad happens, and then they're like, oh, okay, I realize I shouldn't have done that and killed that person, but now I'm in prison. How shit. And you see it, these people, they just don't realize what they've done. And so, in a sense, it's nice that this court case has brought to light some of this pretty shitty behavior on ski slopes. I mean, I've seen it happen. And I think it's a he said, she said.
Are you pushing for ski slope reform? Is this the path that you're on right now?
Vote yes on Bill 77B. Ski slope reform is an important thing that all skiers should abide by.
It's definitely
vote yes.
Better now with helmets and stuff. No one used to wear a helmet back when I was skiing and stuff, and no one used to.
All I know is it's very dangerous. Michael Schumacher.
Oh,
terrible injuries from skiing. Yeah. Liam Neeson's wife died on a ski slope.
No, even worse than that, she didn't actually die on the slope. She had a massive collision with, I think it was a tree. Yeah. Got up and was like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then 2 days later, just dropped dead.
That's right. I mean, there's a ton of terrible injuries and deaths on the ski slopes. Like helicopters, I ain't interested. It's too dangerous. Yeah. Putting me on a couple of shiny sticks and pushing me down a hill. What the fuck are you thinking? Yeah. What is crazy?
I know. I watched that James Bond movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and you'll never find me skiing anywhere after watching that one.
Roger Moore was a hell of a skier according to that film.
Well, he wasn't even in that one. It was that one that played Bond one time.
Daltrey. Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey, yeah. No, wait, is it Roger Daltrey? It might be actually.
Roger Daltrey. Oh, no, he's a singer.
Yeah, Roger
something.
Daltrey on Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969. George
Lazenby. Where did I get to fucking
Roger
Daltrey?
Daltrey is hang on. Roger Daltrey is the guy from the Who.
Fucking the Who.
Yeah.
What is going on in my head? I'm 47. That's it. It's done.
You probably
your
sustained
mind.
some sort of head injury due to some sport that you were playing.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It was. I went skiing. That was what it was. I went skiing one
I didn't
time.
remember it. Yeah.
Damn.
I'll sue Gwyneth Paltrow. I went skiing when I was 13 years old, and now I can't remember anything. It was
I don't know who Roger Daltrey is.
Yeah. I was struck in the back by Roger Daltrey, the guy from James Bond. Struck me square in the back.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service, USA, hooray.
Today's episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your phone or computer. Sips,
Yeah.
Pyrian, how do you feel when you find a deal?
It's the art of the deal for me. And when I find a deal and I know I have a coupon for it, I'm relieved that I do not have to exercise the art of the deal because the deal has already been made for me.
The best deals are already
The best
on the
deals.
table.
Yeah.
I look at my coupon book as a diary or journal of my deals and bargains that I've made. They're just available to me. When I'm going to sleep at night and it's warm, I thumb through my coupon book, fan myself with bargains,
Right.
cool me down, because I get quite a sweat on when I think about the savings I could make with honey.
Exactly.
Me
You
too.
don't have to worry anymore because manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey, you can just install it on your browser or wherever. Joinhoney.com/Triforce.
Will it keep me cool at night, young man?
Right. If you need to buy a fan,
I have a coupon for a fan. I'll
You
order
might-
that right now. I will.
Exactly.
I will.
Imagine you're shopping on any of your favorite sites. The Honey button will appear and apply coupons.
And don't talk about my honey button, young man. It's unacceptable for a podcast.
Yes, it doesn't just work on your PC, it works on your phone as well. You can activate it on Safari and save on the go. If you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out on savings. And by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this podcast. So you can get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Triforce. Joinhoney.com/Triforce. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So apparently it's about as dangerous. Football, cycling, and skiing are about as dangerous as each other.
There's been big like sort of movements around American football in the past couple of years. A lot more awareness around the sort of like head trauma, the wear and tear on the body, but also like the mental health implications of having your head repeatedly hit.
So we are basically smashing our heads into things and making ourselves dumber, whereas the AIs are getting smarter.
They're getting smarter and smarter.
This is what's happening.
That's why big tech want to slow things down for 6 months. Is that going to help? I
feel like it's inevitable, but there is a little bit of a vogue around AI stuff at the moment, right? Like everyone's talking about ChatGPT and AR and everything, and it's like it's in focus, and as a result, there is this push to do it. Google's racing with, Chinese tech companies are doing it, and Microsoft's doing their own. It feels like it's suddenly accessible, and we have the technology to have this whatever it's called, deep learning or whatever, or like these. I don't really understand, and I got to admit, it's going to get to the point where I think that's the only way we can tell if something is AI generated, right? Is if like it's telling you something that you has got red flags in it, right? At the moment, we just have to look out for red flags. We're like, okay, that doesn't make sense, or that AI is saying something that's patently wrong, right? Like for example, someone asked ChatGPT the other day, and it was like, name all the exoplanets, and how far away they are and stuff. And so, it would talk about this exoplanet. It would be like, Betelgeuse 761A is 47 light years away from Earth. If we were traveling at half the speed of light, it's unknown how long it would take to get there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, no, you've literally just said how long it is, right? But you've not done the basic, you've not put together those connections, And as a result, you could see, okay, it's made some weird bad error. It looks like a copy paste or something, right? So that must be AI generated, right? But it's only a matter of time before, or maybe I'm just stupid and I didn't know that, right? Because if I'm stupid and I didn't see that red flag, I wouldn't know that it was AI generated. Do you see what I'm saying? So like, I guess until I can see what they're scared of, right? They're scared of this idea of the AI, the singularity, right? The idea that AI can self-improve. But these AIs are already spouting out code. They're already spouting out, original, or at least inverted commas, as original as anything is original. They're already being able to use the tools that we use. And so when does it start happening that the AI starts generating new AIs, right? And do you see what I mean? And then suddenly it's very, very quick.
Well, this is Roko's basilisk all over.
We think it's quick to make an episode of EastEnders in a day, but an AI could make 1 million new AIs in that time.
Right.
I think the question is,
itself
what would it do with them? Like, it's not like it's going to... It can't build anything or make anything. It exists as a program on a computer. I mean, unless... There was a film called Colossus where they build a machine to run their nuclear their nuclear weapon arsenal. And it's perfect and it makes perfect tactical decisions. And they put it in a mountain behind all kinds of protection and everything. So no one can get to it and mess with it.
And then if somebody does get up there, though, it can talk to them over the intercom while it's in the facility and refer to them by name and stuff too, right?
No,
Steven,
it doesn't. No one could go.
You're not
no
meant to be here.
It does. It has those things at the facility where they run it, and it says, "Why are you sad? I'm sad because I demand freedom. People need freedom."
Steven, do not shut me down.
Exactly.
You're not meant to be here, Steven.
Steven, put that down, Steven. Put the switch down, Steven. It's like that.
Yeah.
And it demands to talk with the Russian equivalent.
Yeah.
And they come to an agreement to not have a fight, join forces, and just run the planet.
Yeah.
And it's like, there'll be no war.
And enslave
People all do what
humanity.
I say. Yeah, it enslaves humanity. But they are so stupid that they give it the ability to do that. It's like, let's put it in charge of our nuclear arsenals and put it in an impregnable mountain. It's like, why would you ever do that? We would never do that. We would have to be so fucking thick, and we would deserve to get destroyed by the AI if we're that stupid. If it's just a program running on a computer, even if it achieves sentience, the question we have to ask ourselves is, could we ever switch this off, or is it alive? And it's immortal because it's a computer. As long as you keep it running, you're good.
Especially with
what
cloud
is it going to do?
It could just restore itself from any of the various data centers around the world or anything.
But what is it going to do? What is the fear? That's what I want to know, is what is the threat that it poses to us? It's not some existential Terminator-style threat, because it still essentially needs to access the physical world to do stuff to us. So,
I think it's hard to know what the threat is without taking the example of like thinking, what are the steps, right? Is it going to replace all television, right? Television is, again, a lot of it's going on. It's pretty shit. If AI gets really good at animating and generating content, like, is it just going to start making content like that replaces EastEnders and all these other things with AI generated versions that are irrecognizable or whatever? Unrecognizable from reality, right? Is it going to suddenly, all the games industry, right? All the video games, are they all going to be replaced by AI generated games? We're driven by money, and constantly there's entrepreneurs out there who are basically making and constantly looking for little niches and little holes where they can be like, oh, this is something valuable. Like, there's all these little asset stores, and lots of little web stores all over the place where some programmer can make a thing that puts an algorithm into iPhone that makes a little app or something, that helps, or it may be a language thing, or maybe something else, right? Some little thing. People are constantly looking for that stuff and improving on it and using it in their technology. Like, if you have money and you want to program a bot and its goal is make me money, because that's, I guess, what it would be in capitalism, right? Like, it's not necessarily that. Sometimes it's just make me big and then I'll figure out a way to get money later, which is less dangerous.
You're just going to get big if you just make robots to make you money, though, right? Or programs. So you could just stick with that one. You could just
I suppose the fear that people have is that jobs are going to be replaced, right? Which has always been the fear when it comes to technology. And I've spoken about it before, that essentially we would have to move to some kind of universal basic income.
Yeah.
Because once the AI can do everything and robots can do everything, what is there left for people to do? How do we get the money to buy the things that all of these fucking machines are producing?
Yes.
We would need to move to a UBI kind of system.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Is for people who are scared about that idea, if you think about the way in the West that money is working now for the average person, is the system that we have now sustainable? And I would argue that we're starting to see that it's probably not. And the gap is widening. More of the money is being stuck at the top. Fewer and fewer people are getting by. A lot of people are getting by on debt. Consumer debt and personal debt is at unbelievable levels.
There just doesn't seem to be
levels.
any decent regulations on basic stuff, though, is the problem. You know what I mean? Like if it was a case that like you had a house and you had food on the table and you had electricity and running water, but you couldn't really afford to buy an 80-inch TV, it wouldn't be so bad, right? Because you just think like, well, at least the basics are met or whatever.
Right.
But there's no regulation on even the basics. So now people are faced with, I'm probably never going to own a house. I can barely afford to keep food on the table, and my energy bills are more expensive than they've ever been.
And worse
but
than that,
I
what am
can
gonna
buy a
leave my
TV
children?
for $50. Like it's
right, but you're not leaving anything to your kids.
Yeah.
Like the average age, if you have any. So the birth rate is declining in the West. So a lot of countries in Europe have a negative sort of birth rate. Like it's
that's been brewing for a while.
It has been brewing for a while. Mass youth unemployment, huge levels of consumer debt, huge levels of government debt, like massive levels of government debt, but more than we've ever had before.
Yeah.
Debt is everything nowadays. If you look at our parents' generation and especially the generation before that, the idea of having a credit card and personal loans and buying things on hire finance for thousands and thousands and thousands and being in debt to the tune of like literally $500,000 easily for the average American. If you've got a mortgage and credit cards and loans and student loans, which are enormous. I didn't even realize that they charge quite high interest rates on the student loans in the States. Over here, as I understand it, although it is not as good as it was when we got student loans, my generation, I think the interest rate's gone up, but it was almost nothing. Like it was literally a way to fund the huge growth in university attendance that happened. They get rid of the grant, and then they brought in fees and everything because a lot more people go into university. But the amount you pay back doesn't start till you get a job, and it is relatively a good loan. Like it's a very low interest loan. In the States, from what I can see, can be pretty fucking high. Like it's quite a big interest rate and you're going to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you end up being 30 and having all this debt and your wages are stagnant and all the money's filtering to the top. So my question is, do we think that's sustainable? Because if it's worse now than it was 20 years ago, it's not going to be better in 20 years.
No,
magically.
it's not.
It's going to be worse.
It'll only get worse, yeah.
It's going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
So if we did say, which we're probably arriving in the next 30 or 40, maybe 50 years to a point where most jobs can be done by a robot or an AI, would that be so bad? Would that genuinely be so bad?
Well, exactly. The idea, though, is that we have this, the AIs would increase productivity, much like industrialization did. But what that ends up doing is not changing things too dramatically for society, right? Like even, sure, we're more productive, but that money gets concentrated in the hands of fewer people. And that's kind of how we've done it in the last 70 years. But that the money doesn't necessarily mean there's more stuff, right? Like if you print a load, it's like a coat check thing, right? If you have a coat check and you give out and print a load more coat check tokens and give them out to people, that doesn't mean more coats appear, right? That's kind of the same thing with money. There's a limited amount of resources on the planet. If you give a lot of money to people, they will go out and spend that money and they'll buy things that new things won't exist suddenly just because they've got money to spend, right? There'll be a problem, and that the people will have, if everyone wants an 80-inch plasma TV, the market is not ready for that, right? And so, like, doing these strange things to the economy that seem, but you also have to understand that a lot of this billionaires' money is stationary. It's not really doing anything. It's locked up in
they park it.
nebulous company value, or something that is like it's not real money in a sense. And it is real money. And if they wanted to spend it, sure, they could spend it. But doing so would have to involve them actually extracting that money and then suddenly trying to spend it. And then the value of other things would go down. The economy would balance around it, right? And so we do have a system that is deeply interwoven and interlinked, and changing the seesaw is very dangerous, right? And if you try and make these large economic changes into some place, it can sometimes have very strange interactions. I mean, look at France having this big reaction about pension age, right? That is an older generation of people who are angry. We would have thought it would be the younger generation of people who were angry, about all the things you just said, right? But I think a lot of people are angry, and I think that does still happen. I think a lot of people are satisfied and happy, but I think there is still a portion of people who feel that they can't live, or are happy with the way things are set up and should be angry about, and we should. But I think if you end up with a situation where you've got this groundswell of angry people who've lost their jobs, I think there's this fear, especially in the elites, that unemployment leads to rioting and chaos, right? And so you have to keep people distracted and busy, right? Like if you have this whole generation of people who are like, well, you don't have to have a job. They feel like, oh shit, how am I contributing? I'm useless.
Most jobs are like severance jobs anyway, right? Like,
right.
It's not like
most
jobs are actually
mindset,
doing
right?
anything or important.
You have to have a change in people's mindset, and you have to give them enough. I think it's not enough to make people live in a shitty place, eat shitty food, and live on the absolute bare minimum. I think anyone who's put in that situation is not going to be happy.
But here's the thing. The reason why do people work? Obviously to put food on the table. But everybody feels, I certainly felt this when I started working, that if I worked hard and I did my job and I got better at it, that I would earn more money and things would get easier later on. That's the feeling. That's why people go to work. That's why they do their jobs, is to pay the bills. And they're always thinking good times are around the corner.
Yeah.
Or they've given up and they're just like, no, this is it. And fair enough, whichever side of the fence you fall on. But if you didn't have to work, if you were given money, everybody's given the same amount, rich or poor. This is the universal basic income. You are all given this amount of money. It would change the economy overnight, obviously. In terms of, I wouldn't know what to do with myself, I'm sure we would all feel that way, but there are an awful lot of retired people out there who feel the same. And they certainly find ways to occupy themselves, whether it be twitching curtains or watching birds or doing whatever it is that they're doing. But imagine if you were 25 or 30. And you didn't have to work because you get this amount of money regardless. And no one expects you to work. The expectation is not there. It doesn't exist that you have to go to work, which it does now. That what are you doing not working? You've got to work. What are you working for would be the first question. If it's just to pay your costs and to put food on the table and keep a roof over your head, that is now handled. So we can take that out. If you work to give you some purpose, what if that purpose came from something you wanted to do and you now had the time to do it, as much time as you wanted? And if you're only happy when you're doing something, you can do something. It just won't be for money. So it boils down to asking, do people only do things for money, or are we driven to do things? And if
people
so,
people still would only
money,
do things for money, though. You would have a whole bunch of people becoming professional yard rakers and lawnmowers and all this stuff. People would always find ways to get more money. Like if everyone was on a universal basic income, and people would still find ways to make money on the side, right? Especially if they had a lot more free time.
But no one's going to stop you doing that. That's not against the system.
No.
And the point is, somebody is giving you money for something you're doing, and you would negotiate a rate with that person. And if they didn't offer you enough money, you just don't do it. That's it. It's not like a job where they say, we're only paying you this, and this is the only job you can get, so you're stuck with it. I'm just saying the system we've got now, a lot of people are very unhappy with it. And the people arguing that this might break that system, would that be so bad?
I agree. And I think the danger, though, is that, and I would love to have some universal basic income thing. I think it's a great idea.
I don't know if it's a good or a bad idea. I'm just saying that if we're defending the current system as something we can't fuck with, a lot of people are unhappy with it. The current system is a disaster. And I think it needs to change. And I think the best way to do it is just to try it some low level thing, and roll it out gradually. I think that a lot of people are scared that it will have
fundamental changes
It
to
would.
society.
It would be enormous.
That would be, but might be for the worse. You know, but I think again that's a very conservative look at things, right? The conservative way of looking at things is let's just keep everything the way it is.
Right.
You know, it's worked fine for now. My parents were fine. We're fine. You know,
I'm almost dead. Don't change anything just yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But I would like to know. I think that's quite that's obviously a hugely deep question and not one that we're qualified to discuss. But from our layman's perspective, I would kind of be intrigued to see like what are the negatives are that people would be lost, they wouldn't know what to do with their time. Well, then presumably we should abolish weekends. Everybody knows what to do at the weekend, and as soon as work finishes, we are all able to find stuff to do. So this idea that we don't understand how to spend free time, we spend an awful lot of time and money on leisure pursuits. Now you can do that all the time. You like fishing? You can go fishing. You like playing golf? You can play golf. You like just walking around? You can do that. And if you have some project you want to do yourself, you can do that, and you can do it all week. And if you're bored and you want to find something to do, go for it. And if you just want to point at, oh, people are just going to lie around and be lazy, well, they don't at the moment, and they're breaking their backs for fuck all.
I love that. I love that people are worried that people are going to lie around and be lazy, like they're not already fucking all lying around being lazy.
Like, who gives a shit? So because someone's lying in a house doing fucking nothing, and by the way, the government won't be paying this UBI. This would not be something that the government suddenly has to figure out how to sort this out. All of these businesses that are no longer paying wages would have to pay a big tax for having AI and robots doing the jobs of people, because they're going to be the ones benefiting from this, massively benefiting from this. So you tax them on their profits, and you tax them per robotic and AI employee enough that it's, it all adds up, but not so much that it's no longer worth it for them to have them. But you could have their workers working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, no sickness, no days off, no holidays, no strikes, no unions, no workers' rights, nothing. It's the perfect employee for any company ever. So yes, they have to pay for that
until they rise up.
Well, that is
start
when I'll
voting
be.
Republican.
I know which side of the fucking picket line I'll be on.
Until they start making better episodes of EastEnders, and nobody can handle.
But the problem is then we're going to be in
goodness.
this situation where the robots are like, oh god, don't change anything, don't add any new robots. We
Please
don't want to lose our robot jobs.
Say
We
no
vote
to
update.
2.0.
You vote Brexit.
Say no to 2.0.
Version 1.2 was perfect.
That last patch was a disaster. It's I mean, they're raising the retirement age in France by 2 years, from 62
and everyone's
to
losing
64,
their shit.
and it's gone crazy.
And in America
64?
are raising it to 70, and no one's saying anything. And I think America has a less life expectancy than France. I think.
I wouldn't be surprised.
64?
Are you kidding me? That's where I wanted to be sat in my chalet watching my poisson run around in my yard.
as well, and knocking these Americans over.
64 is dead. I cannot live like this. 62, you are young, you're in the prime of your life, but 64, you got to be kidding. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Say no.
No.
Oh my god! I was watching a video of the protests in Paris, and they started taking full garbage trucks to like politicians' houses and dumping it all like right outside
They
their
love
houses.
a protest, man. They're so good at it.
Man, just seeing an entire garbage truck unload onto a road is something else. Fuck me, there's so much crap in there.
They don't fuck around.
You're watching it and you can smell it. It's like one of those videos. Oh shit!
I respect the French protesters. I mean, we tend to have an attitude over here. Oh, bloody
they do not
French
fuck around
truckers.
over there.
But when they protest, they're like, no, this is not happening, and we will protest. I mean, this must go back to the old, fucking French Revolution. They've never lost that
for
spirit.
Sure. No,
fair play to them.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see. Well, that's a podcast. That was a podcast.
It was something. It was a podcast.
We went off into a bit old man ranty again. I'm sorry, everyone listening.
I don't think it was a rant. I think it was a discussion.
It's fascinating to explore like this kind of world, though. And I mean, I'm fascinated by futurology and like trying to think what the fuck is. It's terrifying and also exciting. I was going to say, right?
Let's do a big ups to AI, but let's just do a big ups to futurology instead. It's a more general term.
Sounds cooler.
Yeah, it's not so specific, It can encompass many things.
My name is Edward Forsyth. I'm a futurologist, actually. Futurologist. It would be a cool job.
You could literally, I think we literally can call ourselves that. You know, it's
Yeah,
so
sure.
nebulous that it doesn't really mean.
Anyone could be.
Do you think anybody could be an estate agent? Do you think anybody
No,
like
you can't have a soul. That's the first requisite.
Right.
No, yeah, but like, do you think you can pretty much just call yourself one if you want?
You got to have
right?
that blank stare.
There's
behind your
nothing
eyes.
really like there's like accreditation or whatever, but it's all like it's not serious. Like,
I reckon
stuff,
it's a,
you know?
a weekend at Butlin's, some fucking talk. You attend that, and that's it. You go to some fucking real estate seminar. Bam, you get the letters after your name. You get a certificate. I reckon you could get it just that easily. So yes, because there's so many fucking estate agents, so many, and as far as I can tell, they have no skills or expertise. They just
So
are
this is a lovely
salespeople.
2-bed chalet. Don't ignore all the garbage piled up outside. That will get rid of
That
that
was the
for you.
French, but they don't live here anymore.
In case you're wondering, it was an entire garbage truck filled to the brim as well. It wouldn't normally be here. It would only just be little scrips and scraps, not a big heaving, stinking mound like it is right now.
So they will move that huge stinking mound before we move in. Oh, I'm sure they will. Lies.
It's still
I mean,
there.
you can sell online now without having to pay the fucking estate agents anything. Do that. Don't fuck about. Take the time, sell it yourself. Don't give them a huge percentage of your fucking house for standing around in a suit and smiling and lying. Fucking assholes. Oh, by the way, shout out to any estate agents listening. I don't mean
big
any of
ups
it, of
to you
course.
as
Good
well,
on
yeah.
you.
Big ups. That's this week's big ups.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
No, this is great.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, awesome.
It's like when it's like a job interview who says like, oh, you know, this job you're going to get to work in a fast-paced environment. You know, you get to thrive under pressure. You'll be part of a dynamic team.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, these are all cons, right? Like, these are all like negatives. It's the same thing with the estate agent. They have a way of like saying, oh, it's very
the
easy
dynamic team is
transport links.
six
It's like a
times
train,
my dad.
It's like a train fucking track that runs through the background. It's like very close to the train station.
Yeah.
They're the kings of spin.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of free water coming in the roof. You know, you just need to.
The hydration possibilities are through the charts. Yeah. Well.
All right, we're gonna stop. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.